After Dianne Keaton's funeral, the solemnity was driven by great emotion as Woody Allen stepped in forward to the casket. He gasped, "Dianne was more than the woman I loved most, my soulmate, my inexhaustible supply of inspiration." The Globe gasped at this tremendous homage, and one anticipated Allen to share his deep and devoted feelings so publicly. Images of Dianne smiling brightly on film sets and long evenings of creative labor together surged back at return, making the event unpleasant and emotional. But it continued. At the funeral, Allen disclosed a terrible revelation. Formerly Diane's love, Al Pacino was treacherous that I never loved her. He merely exploited Diane's heart. Allen clearly stated, "I loved her deeply. Heart." Or the story raises many questions. How deep was their love? Woody Allen, Dianne. Diane's grin conceals deadly secrets lay hidden? Explore it all in the video. October 14th afternoon passed quietly, little cold. After Dianne Keaton left, leaving her family with an unfillable void. After undefined grief, her family chose to funeral at a small church on a hill overlooking the sea. Dianne preferred the sunset. She wanted this in life. Little, peaceful ceremony in nature. From dawn, Diane's adopted sons Dexter and Duke began calling close friends and co-workers to announce her death. Their voices were emotional. Mom always lived completely. Today, we want everyone to remember her uniquely. Each call started a stream. Recollections of Dianne. Her grin, hearty laughter, and she taught everyone love. As visitors arrived, they were brought along a tiny corridor displaying Diane's teenage and legendary images. Annie Hall, the First Wives Club, and sunlit parachutes. The photos were on little stands with Dexter and Duke's scrawled annotations. Our mother light. Guests watched, sighing softly as the sea echoed against the church windows. Woody Allen entered Diane's church first. The funeral for Keaton was underway. The windows led in sunset light. The Dianne photographs around the casket sparkle. He laughed in front of Diane's portrait brightly on the Manhattan film set. Woody coughed, shaking, looking at her sparkling eyes in the photo. This world has no one like her. Dianne, I'll never forget that smile. He walked slowly, crying, remembering his first meeting, Dianne on Broadway. Young and energetic, her glance was so charming that he doubted his composure with her. Those moments reflooded. Auditions, first shoots, long set nights together, they made everlasting film frames. Sitting quietly, he sighed out a pew near the casket, fists clenched, as if holding on to something. Dianne's still alive. You weren't only my favorite woman, Dianne. Most, but also my soulmate and endless inspiration. Woody mumbled and listened to the sea echo through the window. Dianne seemed present, smiling at him, as she did on stage when they laughed until they lost track of time. Filming memories surged. He remembered Annie Hall, Dianne with golden hair and wicked eyes, and she made every character shine. He closed his eyes, recalling that he laughed in remembering, knowing it would never happen again. He pondered, Dianne, you illuminated my life, and I shall carry that light forever. Woody stood up and walked around the casket, viewing Diane's photos. One photo showed her in a blue outfit on a New York street, another on a Paris beach, hair blowing, smiling. He bowing and repeated approached each snapshot in the breeze, eyes shining. Dianne is special. I can't replace Keaton. Soon after, Woody sat by. He placed his hand on the casket. Tears mixed with his sighs, and he arose, turned to Dexter, feeling like their love and memories filled the air. I know Diane's children Duke, and nodding to reassure them that I lived truly. And I'll remember Diane's great joy. Keep these memories of your mother. Woody leant over, going through. He saved Diane's Manhattan set photos for years. Sparkling eyes, impish smile sprang to mind. He scrutinized each, recalling every moment, line, and smile. She glanced at him as he brought out more Annie Hall photographs of Dianne in a blue dress, hair softly curled in the breeze, standing by him on a New York street. Woody gave these images to Dexter, and Duke nodded gently, saying nothing, but his eyes showed it, believing these photographs would be cherished mementos, immortalizing Dianne. The images were carefully received by Dexter and Duke. Woody observed them, sad and soothing, finding some relief that Diane's legacy would go on through each generation. Picture Woody felt empty in stillness. He knew Diane's legacy would live on in him and her family. Woody took his hand from the album and stood. The images were Left beside the casket without words, he simply felt tremendous pain and solace and mourning that no Dexter and Duke will bury these antiques with Dianne, keeping a portion of her soul for themselves while he continued in the memory-filled dark. After Woody, Goldie Hawn entered with red eyes but a kind touch. Nod. We once promised to grow old together, Dianne, she murmured, shaking. But today, I'll keep that promise in my heart, bearing her laughter and friendship. B. Midler said, clutching a First Wives Club portrait of Dianne. She was always a beauty. The inspiration flame still burns in us. Dianne gave Lauren Graham a little box of messages and images. When I opened it, I remembered Dianne in her living room with pen and paper. Lauren read one letter written with love. Lauren, dream and live joyfully. Every moment is important. The chapel echoed her words as if Dianne were present. Dexter and Duke put Dianne's life images in a huge album, from magazine shoots to Paris filmmaking to family. Each photo revealed a tale that walks on the beach. Dexter whispered, "Mom always wanted us to cherish memories, and today we do it together." Duke nodded, eyes shining. Steve Martin, Dianne's co-star and father of the bride, arrived later. Before the casket, he delicately raised a little champagne glass. Dianne always understood how to turn every day. "Dianne, today will be a party." Softly smiling, tears fell, but comfort and peace were within. Love. Keanu Reeves and Robert De Niro bowed solemnly before the casket. Each brought a souvenir, script, or behind-the-scenes images. Memories of filming are filled with laughter and humor. They said little, but their presence was the greatest homage. As twilight approached, the church windows illuminated the images, and everyone remembers Dianne's face. Dexter and Duke stood by the casket, experiencing her final love and warmth. Dexter muttered, "Mom lived fully." Duke answered, "Her laughs, her lessons, her love will endure." The event ended in great beauty. Stillness, yet full of affection. Many guests left, gazing at water, inhaling Dianne's beloved salty air. Everything slowed down as if Dianne were still smiling. Dianne, in memories, sunset light, and loved ones' hearts. Keaton died. Yet her love, laughter, and moments lived on. Of living fully forever. At Dianne's burial, since Woody Allen was the most moved and sad, what was their profound relationship? Woody Allen met Dianne Keaton in 1969 at an audition. Again, Sam. Dianne's naughty eyes lit up the room. Smile and naturalness charmed Allen. It felt like the world slowed down that moment. And Dianne noticed Allen's earnestness and peculiarity intrigued her and made her want to know more. After the audition, they laughed and talked about art, music, and distant ambitions over supper, never told anyone. In subsequent months, they routinely met, small cafes in New York with jazz playing. Without effort, their feelings grew. Dianne found a spiritual partner in Allen, who understood her odd ideas. Allen viewed Dianne as a bright source of inspiration, bursting his creative ideas like Dianne was. Athy moved in with Allen, his artistic inspiration, a modest flat with serene mornings, coffee smell, and long nights. Dianne recounted childhood stories, adding discourse to life. Dreams and concerns she had never shared. Allen listened silently, sometimes smiling, sometimes remembering facts for films. They laughed and argued, then hugged and smiled as if reconciled. Nothing had happened before they started making movies. Deepening their connection, Dianne became Allen's muse. Inspiring, she had wicked eyes and subtlety on Annie Hall. Grin and fleeting melancholy expression made Allen continuously rewrite lines, trying to make Dianne look beautiful in every photo. Every detail. Dianne's expression was a film in Allen's heart highlight. They were spiritually connected for a few years despite their brief romance, never faded when Dianne returned to California for job advancement. Separated without fighting, with deep regret. Allen claimed only God and Freud understood their divide, but he considered Dianne his soulmate and best friend. Every collaboration after their breakup revealed remarkable rapport. Dianne always looked charming in Manhattan. Interiors, radio. Clever and emotional, Allen wrote and directed, but his eyes always followed Dianne on screen, as if she were present, delivering inspiration and trust. Their artistic but also trusting partnership. Allen had everyday recollections too. He recalled evenings going along the East River with Dianne. Teenage concerns while Alan patiently listened, sometimes joking to ease stress. They laughed, sobbed, and shared daily life, but precious moments, making their love romantic and total spiritual communion. Dianne was Alan's muse. Inspiration was endless. Alan understood and treasured Dianne, his closest spiritual companion. They were soulmates, not lovers, sharing life, laughter, art, and legacy after parting. The early 1970s saw Woody Allen and Dianne Keaton no longer romantically together. Couple, but their friendship and spirituality endured. In New York and Hollywood, Dianne created a fantastic film. She raised Dexter and Duke in a happy family while working. She never married, but her close ties with Al Pacino and Warren Beatty supplied Dianne's personal life, combines acting, and she was a respected artist and caring mother. Woody Allen resumed his painting studies, authoring, directing, and acting in personal productions at his own leisure. His 1997 marriage to Mia Farrow's adopted daughter Sun and Finn produced 2 children. Daughters. This relationship was controversial, but Allen persisted decision to continue his filmmaking and creativity. However, Woody Allen's announcement after Dianne Keaton's burial undoubtedly shocked fans, the most unexpected move. Sitting alone in his Manhattan flat, holding his phone, and he wanted to be honest while browsing social media. For himself and Dianne's admirers, he had always loved Dianne. He had to speak up after her death. Saw his lies. In a lengthy social media statement, Allen wrote about Dianne's smile, eyes, and lengthy years to evenings of conversation. But he soon revealed realities he imagined Dianne had undergone. His letter addressed Dianne's lover Al Pacino. He exploited Dianne's heart, not loved her. I valued her from day one to the end. Allen's honest posts startled many online and personal comments. Yet many felt his great pain and loyalty to Dianne. Some fans said it was the first time Allen publicly expressed such deep admiration. Allen then repeatedly responded to comments stating that he did not want to malign anyone to show his love for Dianne. He wrote, "Lies should not tarnish her reputation. Dianne should be remembered." Finally, Woody said, "For her heart, not for fake romantic games." In honor of Dianne, Allen concluded with a powerful statement that I will always love you and keep our relationship, regardless of what others think. Memories in my heart. These words declared everlasting companionship, soulmateship, and love for everybody who reads. However, Allen and Keaton felt his anguish and genuineness that retained a spiritual tie, no longer romantic. This is particularly visible in This Is Dianne supporting Allen during his most public crisis that explore Allen's darker side to understand him and his soulmate bond with Dianne. A 1992 Hollywood tragedy shocked Hollywood. Dianne Farrow, a blonde, 7-year-old girl with clear eyes, said Woody Allen had done to her adopted mother, Mia Farrow. Dianne says she suffered a dreadful time. While weak light crept through a gap, Allen guided her inside a dark area, urged her to lie on her stomach and play with a toy train. She shivered as he kissed her privates, muttered, "Don't tell Mom." Mia's video of Dylan's testimony was startling. The claim was not made in a previous documentary. Mia and Allen broke up before this that found out her longtime lover Allen was dating someone else, Suni Previn, Mia's 21-year-old adoptive daughter from a previous marriage. When Dylan spoke out about Suni, it upended the family that fueled the flames. Mia, a loving mother of 14, Dylan was immediately taken to police by both birth and adopted parents. Connecticut police and New York Child Welfare intervened. Allen, the famed Annie director, caused a legal and media storm in a 1992 60 Minutes interview. Hall in Manhattan refuted all charges that I never molested my daughter. He accused Mia of manipulating Dylan out of hatred over their relationship. He later retained this position, stating that investigations proved his innocence. In 1993, Yale New Haven Hospital reported positive results for Allen. Dylan may have been coached, but Judge Elliot Wilk found no abuse. Custody disagreement viewed the report as unconvincing, granted Dylan custody. Dylan spent years in Mia's shadow. Depression, food disorders, and public judgment plagued her. Dylan released an open letter in 2014 during the Nagas of Me Too campaign. The New York Times confirmed her account and questioned she wondered why Hollywood honored Allen, a predator. Dylan cried during her first CBS interview in 2018 when evaluating Allen's work. His lies have gone on too long. The 2021 documentary Alan v. Farrow released Dylan's 1992 work Witnesses, including a carer, confirmed Alan and Dylan were missing for 15 to 20 days minutes on that fateful day. Family voices were divided. Dylan's adoptive brother Moses Farrow supported Alan. He submitted a lengthy letter in 2018 claiming he saw nothing strange on the day of the incident and accused Mia of mental and physical abuse of her children. Sunye, Alan's wife, defended him, calling Mia ableist and manipulating mother. But Dylan's brother Ronan Farrow, journalist who led sexual abuse investigations, supported his mother and sister Dianne Keaton too. This family tragedy never ended. Despite the quarrel, Dianne Keaton, an old friend and star in numerous Alan masterpieces, unwaveringly defended him. When I renewed the dispute in 2018, Keaton tweeted, "Woody Allen is my friend, and I still trust him." She recommended Alan's in 2023 60 Minutes interview to make decisions. In an interview with Hollywood Reporter, Keaton said Alan transformed her life. Career. Keaton's defense caused social media outrage, criticizing her for defending an abuser. The friendship is clear. Over 5 decades, Woody Allen and Dianne Keaton have shared a special soulmate connection. In the arts. Their personal passion was brief, but their spiritual tie was strong. Faithfulness, which weathered all hardships, demonstrated love is unnecessary. In a loving way to last. From Play It Again, Sam to masterpieces like Annie Hall, Dianne and Alan created wonderful creative moments where friendship and creativity merged. Dianne Keaton was a work and emotional partner, years of support for Alan. When disturbing claims surfaced, Dianne defended him, reaffirming her trust and love to her friend. Support was more than words. It showed their deep friendship and soulmate link. Partnership that survived time and prejudice, making an impact on their personal and artistic lives. Everything fell apart when Hollywood great Dianne Keaton died on October 11, 2025 at 79 in her Los Angeles home. Her health declined in her final months due to pneumonia, which made her body weak, vulnerable. A close acquaintance said Dianne dropped weight quickly and became previously. Dianne had appeared weaker, worrying others struggled with 2 skin cancers and a long-term eating disorder, which damaged her body and spirit and forced Dianne to she is more careful in her daily life and regular decisions. It was pneumonia that finally ruined her health. Fast. Dianne's health slide forced her to face reality. Prepared for major changes in March 2025, she listed her fantasy Los Angeles residence, where she lived and developed many wonderful memories. This sale disturbed many fans because Dianne's financial decision also showed her knowledge of her deteriorating health. Dianne needed care in her final weeks. Family and home nurses. Eating and moving were difficult every day. She was hopeful about personal matters, but her family realized her body could no longer resist sickness. Family and friends were devastated by her quick decline. Dianne died in the hospital after being taken from home. However, she died soon after, leaving her loved ones heartbroken, her family and millions of followers worldwide. Her death marked a long time. Dianne's brave battle with disease and adversity. A family later thanked the public for its love and support. They welcomed donations to charitable organizations to honor Dianne's compassion. Dianne Keaton, born January 5, 1946, and she started her career in Los Angeles. An American cinema icon. Acting career in the late 1960s and became famous for parts in The Godfather, 1972, Annie Hall, 1977, and First Wives Club, 1996. Keaton earned many honors, including an Oscar for her subtle performance and unusual attitude. Dianne Keaton had romantic relationships. Associations with celebrities including Woody Allen, Al Pacino, and Warren Beatty. She met Woody Allen in 1971 while acting in It Again, Allen wrote Sam. They collaborated on 8 more. She was close friends with Al Pacino for life. After The Godfather Part 2, they dissolved their relationship. 3. She briefly dated Warren Beatty in the 1980s. Keaton said she never married despite several relationships. Her marriage was a personal choice, and she was happy. Keaton adopted 2 children in her late 40s. Son Duke in 2001 and daughter Dexter in 1996. Keaton lived alone and had always valued mom. Without marriage or romantic connections, they lived freely. Dianne Keaton produced classic characters and was a superb realist. Investing in real estate helped her amass $100 million renovating Spanish colonial mission revival and other antique homes mid-century modern. Madonna bought a $6.5 million property from her 2003 villa from Keaton. Keaton carefully considered her inheritance that legal experts say she presumably prepared for estate division. She created a trust to avoid legal issues and transfer assets as she wished. Dexter and Duke, her adoptive children, are expected to share her wealth equally with consent and no dispute disagreements. This shows her careful planning and family affection. The Keaton family also promoted food bank and animal charity donations to shelters in her honor, demonstrating her communal care. Fans continue to remember Dianne Keaton through her timeless work. Her performances show more than just amazing acting talent and portray a robust, life-loving woman constantly struggled. Her legacy will inspire future generations in film and real life. She left a legacy of kindness, creativity, and independence. Dianne Keaton's funeral, relatives and friends were distraught. Her beloved and lifelong collaborator Woody Allen was honored by fans. Colleague of over 50 years, startled the globe by reading his poignant message at Dianne's casket, an emotional homage. Few understood this relationship and spiritual bond. Shared images, memories, and true emotions made the event sad and full of emotion. You heard about Dianne Keaton and felt grateful for a life lived for art. What do you admire most about her life and career? How do you feel about Dianne's death? Comment below and subscribe to the channel to keep seeing moving and inspiring content. Profiles of artistic and personal giants.